Well, at 6:30, I'll call the meeting to order here. First thing, agenda additions and deletions. I don't think we have any, do we?
You want to have the sidewalk grant?
Oh.
Agreement?
Yes.
Okay.
And are we doing, did you want to talk about the cybersecurity stuff during select board comments?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, I have a note here.
cool.
Okay. Approval of select board minutes from 12/19. We have a motion to discuss.
I'll make a motion to discuss the meetings from this December 18th, 2022 meeting.
I'll second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Any corrections, comments, questions? No, I didn't notice anything.
Do we need a motion?
Yep.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes from the December 19th meeting.
I'll second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None?
I'm assuming Mark is voting yes.
Oh. Is he,
He's on the phone.
Okay.
he's not on mute or anything, right?
You with us, right, Mark?
Mark?
Yeah, I can barely hear you.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. We just approved the minutes.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Pay orders.
I put a revised one, Allied Auto was added.
Oh, okay.
Any questions or concerns?
I make a motion to approve the pay orders of $11,876.13.
Second.
I'll second.
Discussion, any discussion? I do have one question. Michelle Kinney, the reimbursement for, did he even work 50% of the hours he was scheduled?
I think we calculated that. Do you remember what, the number of hours he was available to work, Julie? I thought I put that in a memo
You had it in one of your memos.
a while ago.
I would just say that if we're gonna pay him, we should in the future put it out that people need to work their scheduled time because he was constantly not showing up for work.
So put something in about there needs to be a
If we-
requirement
Do
that
we have?
be
like a-
reimbursed when you work the majority of your scheduled hours.
Yeah, do we have any kind of policy on that?
I don't think we do.
Okay.
I think this situation sort of brings up the fact that we probably should.
That's exactly
was-
what happened.
Back a while ago, there was some sort of parameter if you were the reimbursement like that. This was discussed.
I don't remember seeing it in
Maybe
what we
they're not
have now.
formally.
I think.
Or even beyond that, just the idea of having a policy if you don't meet a certain amount of the days that you've said that you would work. then-
I would think we should even just set a certain number of hours,
I think
that you need to work this
if
many
it's a
hours
but if
minimum.
it's a different amount of hours, then it might not be relevant. I think maybe it's a percentage of the time that you're scheduled to be there.
Well, I'm thinking though, if we end up, hypothetically, if we have two people available that want to go through the program, but there's not as enough, if their scheduled hours is only so many, is that enough to warrant paying for it?
What I'm thinking.
I was just being proactive in case you're
Yeah,
down
yeah.
the road.
I'm just thinking that so say you do have, say one person scheduled for 35 hours, and another person scheduled for 15. If you have a set amount of hours you have to work, then it's really a lot in percentage for the person with the least amount of hours and more for the person who has the more amount of hours. So I'm thinking maybe it's a percentage of the time that they're scheduled to work during the summer.
Okay,
And
I'm
if it's less than a certain percentage, then they don't get reimbursement.
I'm just,
Yeah.
want to make sure we get it, you know, if we're
He was
paying this
eligible to
much.
work 225 hours, and he worked 120 and a half. I mean, some of that would have been a rain, a few, but. No.
So you'd have to have a policy that said if rain cancels it, then that does not count against whatever.
Or we adjust the hours, the scheduled hours against the amount that was rained out.
Yeah, you just, yeah, you could just remove, on a rain day, you could just remove it as a scheduled hours.
Yes.
Right.
But I know it was an issue with Ethan, that he wasn't there a lot of the time, so.
Okay.
So,
The only question I have is for the Vermont Digital. What are they doing for their quarterly maintenance?
That's, they bill us by the number of copies, that's all we pay them for.
Oh, just for the copier machine?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay,
So they give us the toner and all that
okay,
at no charge, and we pay it quarterly. It's
Okay.
based on the number of copies.
cool.
so, all those in favor of approving pay orders?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And honorable mentions this week, we have Kate and John McClellan for donating funds to the town hall food shelf, so we thank John and Kate. And we're on to road commissioners report.
Oh, been kind of quiet this week with all the warm weather. We do have one truck that's still down, as far as I know. He's working on the starter right now. As of Friday, when I was in there. The other two trucks everything else is up and running. They are gonna start doing a little brush cutting tomorrow. They've got some trees that are out, creeping out in the road from the storm, that haven't been trimmed back, and they need to be trimmed back. So they're gonna do some of that. I think Steve's still working on the starter. As far as I know, he's working on that, so. But other than that, I don't think there's a whole lot going on down there. They're gonna have to check roads, all of the dirt roads tomorrow. Cause some of them broke up in different spots in other towns, so.
Before we talk about other things, some budget items, since you brought up trees, Phil, we noticed that down at the park, at the rec field, big tree limb came down.
Yep.
And it looks like there's a whole bunch of trees there that are all growing together. Is there a possibility about having somebody check that out to see if a few of those trees, like one in particular is a little bit down and it's dropping broken stuff all over the parking lot, so I don't know if that's something that Rob should check out, or,
I guess that's my question to the select board, whether they wanna have the town crew down there in the park picking up the trees. I don't know quite how to answer that.
Isn't that the same one that came down that I talked about over the summer? The same trees?
I think it's the same trees, and
The
the thing
big
is,
maple in the far, down
Yeah,
by the water.
they took out the porta potty.
yes, and they came close to taking out the one this last time too, the new one.
Yeah.
And, but since there's some that are growing so close together, I think Rob took down some in a different situation that were growing the same way. My one question was property line. I'm not sure how many of those trees are actually on rec land or private property.
Well, I guess we have to look at, I think if it amounted to taking trees down, I think probably we ought to have Rob Barker look into it,
Right.
opposed to having the road crew do it. If it's something that, like the limbs down in the middle of the park, it's possible they could clean it up if you guys don't care.
Right.
I don't think that we should put them in, till at least we look, one, if it's on our property, two, what kind of tree it is to see how bad it's gonna be to take down. I wouldn't wanna get them hurt.
No,
Right.
no.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess,
Yeah, I thought we had asked him to look at those trees. Maybe we have to ask him again.
Yeah, we haven't heard back from him.
Okay.
maybe we ought to flag them so he knows exactly which
Yeah, I
ones.
think that's a good idea.
Okay,
Okay. Yeah, but those are. I mean, they're big
yes.
and they're right next to each other. So
Yes.
Okay, well, then it's definitely something the town crew will not be working on.
No, yeah. Because they're also like, they're very close to the house next door, and he wasn't sure whether or not they were on his property or on the guy that I talked to when I saw that one that fell.
Yeah,
You're talking by Mark's old place. Must be by the tennis court.
By Mark
Yes.
Davis.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like,
So I'll send an email to Rob and ask him to look at them, but that, the road crew will flag them first. Okay.
Yeah, because they could easily go the other way. He said that he had a bunch of stuff that fell down his.
Okay.
yeah,
His
yeah,
yard
it's-
too.
they're box alder if I remember right.
now,
We talked before about budgeting for a trailer to move the excavator around. I don't know, do we want to discuss that now or come back to it?
we can discuss that now.
Versus putting miles on it as it goes up and around the streets.
Well, you can't, it's rubber tracked, it has to be trailered some places.
Yeah.
You know, once you move it to like East Wallingford, like Sugar Hill, you can run it around on the side roads up there, especially if you're gonna do mowing, roadside mowing with it, get a brush head for it. And ditch work, he moved it quite a bit, just traveling around, but to and from the shop and to the job site, depending on where it's going, it has to be trucked. It's not something that can go over the road.
Okay.
So I think we need to put some money into the budget for a trailer.
How much is a trailer gonna cost?
Well, if you're looking at new, you're probably talking 25, 30,000. You know, there's used ones out there for around $5,000. I actually have one for sale.
Okay, would a used one be as sufficient as a new one? I mean,
Well,
how less of a lifespan are we talking if we get used?
oh, no, 10, 12 years probably, for what little the town's gonna use it.
Right.
Okay,
It's all new tires, all new bearings, everything's been gone through on it. The brakes are those same original brakes that were on it. It's just a small 20,000 pound, 10-ton trailer. It would move our machine fine. That's actually what I moved it on quite a few times. And
and so
I think
you,
Steve went ahead and had one of the trucks set up with a pintle hitch and the air brakes, so the little one set up to move that stuff.
Okay.
and so a used one you think we could find for over
Around
5,000?
5,000.
Around 5?
Yep.
What are you asking for the one you're for selling?
5.
How convenient.
Yeah, you know, you can, I just looked at a new 20-ton 3 days ago and it was 42,000. It's unbelievable, you can't
Okay.
justify it.
So if
Yeah.
we're gonna budget, I think we would then budget probably for a used one?
Do we have any money in the equipment budget now? That isn't committed? Committed for something else?
I think a little bit.
Yes.
A little bit.
36.
Oh,
1,000?
Okay.
oh. So we can use the,
That'll cover it.
oh, you think?
Just go get a bunch of black spray paint. And just
I'll paint it
go
for
to
that.
town. Yeah.
So maybe we ought to just
Yes.
formally make a motion to,
I make a motion that we use money from our highway equipment budget to purchase a used trailer to move the excavator.
Do you want to put a dollar amount on it?
$5,000
from Phil Baker,
from Phil Baker.
or whatever.
If you want to.
Do we have to, for tax and reg, do we have to do anything for that?
You will have to register, yes.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe budget
So,
550 just to make, or 500.
I think it's
We've got 36,000 in-
$124,
Right.
I think, to register.
so if we budget 5,500, that would cover?
Oh, yeah.
So I amend
Well,
my
yeah, they're
motion?
gonna pay sales tax on it too.
Right, that's the,
I think the registration's
You're
like
still
100.
working on it, you don't have to amend it, it hasn't been seconded yet.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So I make a motion that we approve
Purchase.
a purchase of around $6,000 for a trailer from Phil Baker, including registration and taxes, to be purchased by the town.
For use for removing the excavator.
For use of moving the excavator.
Do I have a second?
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So let's see, Karen.
Now, the sand shed.
Now, the other issue we had, we haven't budgeted any funds for sand shed or Creek Road bridge repairs.
I know we've been talking about this and talking about this. What are we at that would be a solution for this? I know there was an idea out there.
My suggestion would be to set some money aside to start the paperwork into it. Sandy might have a better idea on how much that costs, but it's gonna be a 2 or 3 year project to get the paperwork through I presume through the state to get this going. If you don't start it and if you put it off for another physical year, you're gonna end up, and it's something depending on what their grants are,
Okay.
you may only have to match, what, 20-25%, Sandy?
About the sand shed or the bridge?
The bridge.
Oh, the bridge? Oh, yeah, yeah, that's gonna be,
Yeah.
that'll be another 5-year project too,
Okay.
to get permits, water permits, erosion, all that stuff to go with that. Yeah, you could be 2 years just doing the permits on that.
Okay. So should we just for staying on topic, should we talk about the sand shed first and then see if we're talking about anything else?
Yeah.
Okay. So for the sand shed, we can apply for grants for it.
Yes.
When's that application?
Like September, or October.
So this would be for September, October. What are we thinking is gonna be around the ballpark final price on the sand shed?
Well, I think we have a price of $272
Yeah.
for a steel building, but you can't stick with, that because that's already 3 months gone by.
That's just.
I would say probably in the 350 range would cover it or under, you know, because until you actually commit to the building, you're not gonna get a price broke down, because I think they're only still going on 30 days or 45 days.
Can we
On
estimate it? Can we estimate it around 325?
I'd say 325 or 350
Okay.
to cover your permits, and
And is that gonna be for a pad and walls and all of that?
that includes no pad, there's dirt floor,
Okay.
but it includes 12-inch walls all the way around it, frost walls under the doorways. There's 4 feet of frost wall down, 4 feet sticking up with 12-inch buttress, 12-inch walls with 12-inch buttresses.
And what's the size of this shed?
I think we said 60 by 100. That's in the paperwork and I don't have it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was comparative to the quote on the domed tarped building with cement blocks for the foundation. I think that was almost 700,000 or was
Yes.
it just
Yeah.
over?
Yes.
Twice that
So I'm
amount.
not quite sure
So
how
this
they
is
figure
not
that. And that 272, I asked them, it included everything, all the digging, backfilling, and installing.
Okay.
20-foot walls,
So an estimate of 350
yeah.
would be a pretty
I would think it would be
fair
fairly close,
estimate.
unless things totally go
Okay.
awry.
Sandy, do you happen to know what a town match would be if we were able to get a grant?
It's 10%.
10?
One of the grants, yeah.
Is there a dollar amount limit on the grant, on the grants?
I'm gonna look it up right now.
One of them was like 400,000, if I remember right, 425, 460. And that was the high end, I think, on it.
Right.
30.
We talked about that in the past. For a
Oh,
lease
Fairfield
part of it.
funds, yeah.
Yeah.
10% of 350 would be what, 35,000?
We would have the Fairfield money by that point, right?
Right. That comes in December.
Kathy just brought that up.
We had talked in the past of using some of that money towards the purchase of the shed.
And the grader.
Yes, and the grader too, correct.
Yeah, so I don't know how you
But since we just
want
talked
it.
about the shed, I just brought up the shed. Right?
So, depending on what you would, I don't know how you would, if you had a grant for the balance, the bigger balance of it, I would think, you know, the 35 would be the balance, you could pull that easily from that. Or put in some of it in the
It's
budget.
20 This one, the municipal highway and stormwater mitigation grant is 20%.
So it'd be 70.
1,000.
So 7.
But if you put away X amount of dollars the next 2 or 3 years before you've got it put up, you'd have a good start on your balance of 70, if it stays at 350.
Yeah, I'm just concerned that adding more money to the budget
Yeah.
we're proposing,
I know. I'm just,
But the Fairfield funds would
give us a down payment,
give us a down
or
payment.
the matching grant, I mean.
Right.
what would happen if
And are
we,
But then when we would lose this, the,
For the grader.
with the grader, we would just have to,
Well,
But
how much money
budgeted
do
the
we have
first
in those
payment for that.
funds?
Which one?
The Fairfield farms, the Fernfield farms?
Well, as of last December, it was about 257,000, but I don't know what it's done this year.
Yeah.
So I was just figuring two-thirds is about 180, but I don't know if
So we have
that balance is.
if
to
you,
the sand shed and then grader payment.
yeah, if you budgeted a percentage towards the down payment of it, say, or you're gonna have to have something in there for engineering or whatever it costs, permit fees, we'll call it. What would happen if you put that out to the town as a article or whatever they do and let the town vote on it and see if that's something they wanna spend $70,000 on with possible match of the balance with the state? Because we talked about that, and we talked about that for something else too. I don't even remember what it was.
Equipment fund.
Equipment fund, yes.
Right.
What are you talking about right now, the sand shed?
Yeah.
Yes.
What about some of the money from the building reserve fund? Is that considered a building?
Could be.
Yes.
yeah, it's
Walls
got
and a
four-
roof.
yeah, walls and a roof.
So, by the end of June, we'll, you know, if we don't spend any of it, we'll have, so right now we have 92,000 in it, and we're gonna add another 20.
So it sounds like
We
Yeah,
have
that
a
sounds
few
like it's-
costs. And
yeah.
even if we took some from, say, the building fund and some from Fairfield towards that
Yes.
20% match, I think we'd be in pretty good shape.
sounds like we could cover it that way.
Yeah.
Versus trying to add on to the budget that we were, yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe just set enough aside for some permit fees. You know, I don't know what it would be, $2,500, $5,000.
Would that be covered in the grant? No, we're not talking about the grant, never mind, sorry.
Right.
Yeah, we're just concerned if we did get the grant,
Right.
Yes.
covering the matching funds. It sounds like we can do it that way,
Yeah.
so.
That there's available money in those two funding sources.
And we don't have to we don't have to designate in the building fund, we're gonna set this aside for
No.
this amount? Because it would just be used,
And we don't have to do it with Fernfield money either.
okay. Okay, so then if we have to do the permitting, we have to start the thing, we could just take it from that, or do we have that? Because it would technically be under the auspice of the building.
Yeah, and it probably wouldn't be that much either.
Yeah,
And since it's infrastructure, the Fernfield funds money is available then as well. So you could take a little from that fund, a little from the other.
Right.
Because you probably start your permit fee, you said September, Sandy?
The grant came out in September of this year and it was due in early October. I don't know
If it
how
falls.
long it took them to announce the recipients, you know, probably at least a month.
Okay.
So it's something we'd have to set up early,
And so
late
we-
summer, early fall.
We would wanna, you know, if they go by the schedule again,
Yeah,
by early, you know, mid-September, we
Yep.
should have our ducks in a row. to-
yeah, and get it, so we get
Apply
it,
for
get
it.
it in this year.
Yeah.
Are they applying for the grant?
But it looks like we'd have it covered.
Okay, great.
And then with the bridge, I don't even know where we begin with that. I mean,
Because we still don't know really if, because
I
we were
think we're
still waiting on
waiting.
Devon, right?
We're waiting to talk to Devin,
Yeah.
and Devin is waiting until he sees that.
I gave it to him.
Okay.
Getting that, so.
So then we should be hearing from Devin soon about
Right,
when he can meet. So we're interested in knowing when we can meet to talk.
yeah, to start that, like
Exactly.
Bruce said last time, that accelerated bridge program.
Yes.
But it's not a given, I mean,
Right.
because there's several in the county that want to do the same thing,
Okay.
so they prioritize them all. I just don't know if, you know, when we were out there, he had those things that he wanted to do right away,
Yes,
and then in the spring,
yes.
do we need money in the spring to do those other?
Well, you're gonna do a little paving on it. We've done the cleanup, we've done the rotomilling of the edges of the plate. And then the paving is the other thing, is, you know, probably 5,000, maybe a little more, 7,500 to pave it. I don't know. I didn't know if that was gonna come out of the paving budget
Right,
or not. I didn't know how you wanted to do
Yeah.
it.
It could.
You know, it's definitely something that needs to be done to smooth it up, so we take a little of the stress off the bridge. See, like I say, you may be 3 to 5 years permitting that. And at some point, you're probably gonna end up, maybe if we can't come up with a grant or funding on it, you're gonna have to do a bond on it, I would presume.
Yes, yes.
You know, we've got some money set aside now that we could do our permitting with.
Okay.
And you've got you could probably, if you had to, pull that paving money out of that bridge fund, couldn't
and
you?
we also have, yeah, we have the bridge fund as well.
Yeah, we have the bridge fund. What's
To
got-
pay, you know, and you could put it on the,
Okay.
did we set aside the 35,000, I think it was a year, this year, for that
Yeah.
bridge?
30, and then-
30.
Then we increased it to 40 for next year.
There'll be money there.
Yeah, there's gonna be money
Yeah,
there.
so we should cover, have the payment, all that stuff covered. It's just, until you start getting into engineering on this and numbers, you really don't know where you stand.
Right.
It's gonna be expensive, there's no
Yes.
doubt about that.
Okay.
It sounds like we don't really have to do we don't have to do anything more in terms of budgeting specific line
No.
items for that.
I think you're good for that.
Okay.
We're covered.
Well, that's good.
Huzzah.
Anything else, Phil?
No, I'm good for now.
Thank you.
Public comments we have here today. So we're on to fiscal year '24 budget review for administration, insurance, and revenue.
Okay. Administration.
So we start right at the top, line 5,000.
Are we looking at administration right now?
Yes,
Okay.
auditor stipends.
Understatement.
Why did we go down in 21-22? Was it just not?
That was, we only paid out 100. We
Yeah.
budgeted 150, because one of them
Okay.
didn't want it, they took a transfer station. It's only $50, so.
Okay.
Leave it at 150.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Select board stipends.
Now's the time for your sunrise.
Leave it at 776.
That sounds fine with me.
Yeah.
Assessor clerk salary.
This is again, we only paid out $397 in 21-22.
Right now, we're at 263 for the year.
I feel like leaving it at 2.
Leave it at 2.
Okay.
Is everybody in agreement with that? Yes?
Yes.
Assessor expenses. Last year, 7,250. We've done. $400 so far this year. We're good to leave it at 7,250, Sandy?
I think so.
Is that John?
Yeah.
Now it's a property
So
tax.
we're all good at 7,250 then?
Yeah.
And I contacted that CIA Technologies for property maps, and that's the figure they gave me for
Two.
5002C, property maps.
2,000,
With
okay.
2,000?
Yep.
Okay.
We tried a few years ago to skip, or we considered skipping to just do up and it doesn't work. They just charge double.
Yeah, I
Because they
remember
have
that.
twice the work,
Yeah.
basically. Okay.
Yeah.
And then for the contract, we're suggesting that we would put out that's saying we're offering 18.4.
I wouldn't go any lower.
Okay. Okay. So I think it's an increase of $400 then. Or $350 for the assessor overall. Okay.
Is that a typo, 2,000 on expenses?
A typo on what?
The
No, it
5,000.
just calculates it, and because there's nothing in the other ones, that's the total. There's just a formula in the spreadsheet is what it is. So once you add the other three figures, it'll come
Oh.
to 29,650.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see what, yeah,
Yep.
yeah, I see now. Town administrator salary. I guess at this point, we need to discuss
Yeah.
Yeah.
potential cost of living raises, or,
Right.
Sandy's done a spreadsheet for us here.
Okay. Oh, that's the spreadsheet now, okay. There it is. Okay. Look at the spreadsheet.
So what is people's pleasure for a percent increase?
Inflation's at 7% right now.
Can I pick on yours? I don't seem to have that piece of paper. Thank you so much. what do we, anybody have an idea of what we'd like to do?
I mean,
Like
just in terms of, I would be, just,
5% or?
yeah, just because it would be the least we could do in terms of what's going
Yeah,
crazy this time.
It basically won't even break even.
Right.
So 5.
You got that
had room, you
5%
could've got a
mark?
couple more lines here, Sandy.
What's that?
You had room, you could've got a couple more.
Percent in salary increases, we're talking 5%.
That's what Social Security went up also, correct?
No, Social Security went up
8.
8,
Social went up 8,
and the other is 7.
8%?
and then the, yeah.
No, yeah, 5% is 5.
Well, 5% it is, I guess.
Yes, indeed.
Are we, how many hours per month we're gonna do?
Are you doing 5% across the board?
Yeah, do you want to do 5 right across the board?
Well, you had a proposal for Jill,
Right.
Right.
increase her salary $1 an hour.
Yeah, which is,
What's the board's pleasure on that?
Which would bring her up to
18.
18, which is only 15 cents above the 5%, so that sounds
but
fine
if
to
you
me.
look at Jill's note, she'd like it at 1 per hour to 18, that's 5.88. And then bring that budget line to 19.8 on 5009. Are we good with that?
Go back and look at that again.
I'm good with that. Yeah.
Okay, so, system out. So, say that again, Kathy, what were you saying for the?
So from the note that
Julie Rowe.
Julie wrote,
Yeah.
to increase $1 per hour to go from 17 to 18 would make for the assistant clerk treasurer a 5.88 raise.
Yeah.
And if we approve it, we'd budget 19.8 for line 5009.
That seems fine with me.
I'm good with that too.
And that would be the same rate that, I mean, typically we're paying the data clerk the same hourly rate, so, because she does this too, so we would pay that
Okay.
for both jobs.
Are we good with 5 for everyone else?
I think so. I think it's not exactly bringing it par or parity with inflation, but it's still not nothing.
And it's more than a lot of other
Was
places
it
have
10?
increased.
Right,
5%
right.
for
Yeah.
boys and
I-
Julie.
Teachers
You
only
know,
got 3.
No,
It'd
If
be
that.
bound to go more with them, and then
What?
it'd be bound to do more for them than everybody else.
Right.
That's not right.
now for the zoning administrator,
So,
oh, okay, wait.
oh, you didn't give us a dollar total, you just gave us an hourly rate, huh?
Yeah, I'll figure it in for the next meeting. I'll go back and calculate all of these.
Okay.
And to talk about dollar total for the zoning administrator, she says she's been working 25 to 30 hours per month. We have budgeted in the past for about 20 to 22. She has advised that the zoning salary line 5004 be calculated at 30 hours per month. At, I think we're saying a 5% hourly rate. What's the board's pleasure on hours for the zoning administrator per month? Do we want to go with the advice of 30, or do we want to average it to like a 28 or something? such? What would we like to do? Because we've been at
How
20
is-
to 22 hours per month.
I guess I'd like some justification of why she's working 30 hours.
My question too is why is there a reason it increased? Like, is there other
It's a good
tasks
question.
or?
I just think she's just getting more permit applications.
Hmm.
Just more time.
Do we want to go to say 25 hours per month? Or maybe a different amount?
I guess I could agree to 25, I
I
guess.
think 25 makes more sense because we don't want to completely blow it with the 30 because that's a lot of extra. That's
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree.
60 more hours a year. Right? They did that math right?
Yep,
Yeah.
25 hours a month?
yes.
Okay. So then if she got times,
And that would be at the 28.35, I believe.
her hourly would be 20.76.
Okay.
It was 5%.
Okay,
Times 25 a month,
yeah.
times 12 months,
Yeah, 27.
62.28 is her salary with a 5% increase, 25 hours a month.
62.28.
62.28, we'll just do like 6,300 or 62.50, whatever.
62.50?
Yeah, 62.50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Expenses. 232 so far.
Oh, and then also the line about do we want to budget any time for Jim Regula in case he returns?
Oh, yeah.
Do we have any insight on if he's going to be able to come back?
You're skipping ahead here, aren't you?
No, it was on the bottom of this, right in here, sorry.
Sheet. Yes.
Well, let's discuss that when we get to the transfer station salaries.
Oh, sorry, I thought we were doing 5% all the way, that's what we had said for everything going across.
The only exception being Jill.
Right,
Okay, but we've got zoning
we gotta just do
expenses.
the
Yeah.
actual numbers, okay.
Yeah, do the zoning. So for zoning expenses, the request was 450.
Right.
Why do we think of that?
Where's she
How much has
spent
been spent so far this year, Julie, on zoning expenses?
$24.
$4.
I guess I'd keep it at 3, but
Yeah, I think so too.
okay.
Keep it at 300?
Yeah.
So I guess we're down to transfer station salaries.
Do you want to do road crew overtime? This is always a tough one to,
Yeah.
What is that number based on? A certain number of hours?
I mean, it's like a,
Or is it just a number
Dark in the
pulled out of the
it
air?
really is. I mean, because you can't really compare it to what we do this year because you don't know what the
Right.
storm is going to,
Right.
so. I mean, last year, we budgeted 15.
So the percentage was 40.7.
Well, that's what they've spent so far.
Yeah.
We still got 3 or 4 months of winter yet too.
Yeah.
So do we want to, what's our pleasure, do we want to level it?
I'd say we take the 15,000 then add the 5% to it.
Okay.
At 5%.
So what's that new number?
Hope for a mild winter.
Yeah.
Adding 750.
Sure starting out
So
that way.
15,750.
Okay, 15, 750.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Then, do we need to go back up to town clerk and treasurer salary?
I'm just gonna add 5%.
That'll be the
Okay,
5%.
so 5.
It's in the broker, I'll just add 5% for yours.
Okay. So what does that put?
Transfer station's just different, because last year it was just, you know, kind of had an odd year with 3 people sometimes.
Yeah.
That's one we need to adjust.
And I guess this brings us to the question, are we gonna budget in for,
Jim to come back.
yeah, for Jim to come back?
If Jim comes back, Jerry would no longer be getting any hours,
Right.
Okay. Or so do we keep
Or
this
he-
number the same?
or his hours would get cut depending on what Jim worked.
So basically, we're just, instead of doing it for Art and Jerry, we're budgeting for two individual slots.
Number
for-
one and number
or-
two.
Right,
Except that Jim got paid what Art,
okay,
the same as Art.
because, okay,
Instead of budgeting for a lower paid employee, you'd be budgeting.
Okay.
Right.
So how much higher do we need to go on this figure?
Do we have any indication whether Jim is gonna ever come back?
I had a couple conversations and it just, it would be nice if he could come back as an occasional handy person, which would be nice. That way he wouldn't have dedicated hours at transfer station, but if he was able to do other things, I mean, the things that he did around here, there's everything from like plumbing to locksmith, I mean, do everything.
Gotcha.
But I don't know. what
So
it's gonna be.
okay. How do you budget for that?
We could, I mean, I don't know if we
do
could.
we pad it with like maybe $2,500 extra? And that would kind of, so like if we're,
Does that sound reasonable?
like if we're currently doing, without the 5%, if we're currently doing 14,000 for Art, 10,000 for Jerry, then if we add another 2,500, that brings us right around like 13,250 for that second tier. That might give enough money to, if he does come back a couple times, because he wouldn't be coming back full
Oh, no.
that entire time, and then that would allow us a little bit, if he did have time to come and help us out. We'd have a little bit of extra time, but it wouldn't completely destroy us.
Plus, it's gonna be less than we budgeted this year, because I
Yes.
think we put in for Jim last year. So we've got 28.9, but I'm not
Yeah.
coming up to that for this year
Okay.
with the 5% and then adding in what you just said.
That's true, we don't come close to
Right,
that.
so we'll
So are we
go
thinking
back.
more around 20?
No, I don't know what, I didn't hear what Justin said to add in.
2,500.
Well,
Maybe if we just leave it at 28.9.
Yeah, just level fund it.
Just level fund it.
And if it comes from another group?
Right.
Okay, so we're gonna level that one.
Right.
We've already talked about the next one.
Right, 19.8 there.
How about the road commissioner?
There you go. What do you want, Phil?
Leave that alone.
So two?
So,
Leave it at 2.
Okay. Tree warden? Leave it 250?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he bills us for his time anyway, doesn't he?
He gives a lot too.
Yes. Delinquent tax?
It's already filled in.
Oh, it's already filled in.
Medicare and the retirement, you'll have to calculate based on the
Right,
increases, so.
Yeah,
Leave those for now.
okay. So are those the amounts in the bold? On this spreadsheet?
Hold 8% increase for the health insurance part.
it's just, I mean, obviously, we can calculate the second half of the year,
Okay,
because we know what insurances, health insurances from July to December, but then January of '24 to June of '24
Is a guess.
So you just
okay,
suggested they put in 8%, so that's what we did.
okay,
Okay.
It's just all,
okay. Looks good.
Fire warden stipend.
Doesn't look like there's been one.
well, the last one didn't want anything.
Okay.
Have these, the current ones, did they say anything?
When did the new one come on, Roger?
Just a few months ago. I mean, maybe we should put something back in, because
The last two just took transfer station cards.
Okay.
Instead of taking the $100.
All right.
Better than money.
zero there.
Yeah.
That's done.
Okay.
And we did all this a couple weeks ago, right? The next other town government operations.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Cool.
we're on to revenue.
Okay.
So pilot money's already filled in. Highway state aid. How has that been determined in the past?
They give us a number, right, Julie, for state aid?
So they've already given us 50%, it's almost 43,000, so this year we're gonna get almost 86,000. So I don't know if you wanna raise that.
Do you want to go with 86?
Yeah, I see. Because that's something that would be,
They raised it about $3,000 versus the year before then.
Yeah.
and if unless inflation really deflates,
Wait.
it's
Trying to think if this has the extra. That they gave us last year.
A couple times they gave us like those little checks, remember, like 12,000 or something.
I'm not sure if this has that little extra that they gave us or not. They were doing paving grants, remember? Remember they gave us money instead of, every town got the money instead of giving out the grants.
Was it like around 12 or something like that?
Yeah.
So do we want to do more like 85?
I'd like to just double check that before we
Okay.
come up with a number.
Okay,
Okay.
Okay.
sounds good. Pause on that.
Just keep that one blank for now, and what I'll do is when we get all the numbers in, this one and then the Stafford one, we should have that one pretty soon.
Right.
I can email everybody this week
Oh, great,
the total budget so you can see.
excellent.
That way, if there's any reason why you wanna have another meeting before the 16th, we could do that.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Ordinance fines, we budgeted $7,500 and so far they haven't even,
What are we at?
we're at $4,400,
Okay.
60% of what we budgeted.
Oh, we have 3 more
This
minutes.
is anything this is stuff that would be done, like given, like a ticket that would be given by the sheriff? or-
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
We're increasing our hours, so we would theoretically, hopefully get more money out of it, right? If we're increasing our hours with them.
In theory,
It's a
In theory,
thought.
in logical thought, that there is some kind of correlation between if they
That's
hear
it.
more, they're gonna be getting more tickets
That's
written,
if
hopefully.
they
but-
can find someone to
Exactly.
increase the hours with.
Right.
yeah.
Yes, so then maybe leave it leveled, and then if it's a
Yeah,
windfall, it's a windfall?
yeah, okay.
Happy little surprise.
Yes.
Yeah. So next figure's already written for us.
Office rent is
This is for the fire district.
fire district's office.
So what's it gonna be for again?
I'd say we leave it at 4. I mean, it's either gonna come out of your right pocket or your left pocket.
Right,
If you
right,
live in the
right.
fire district, so.
True. Yeah. Okay, so motor vehicle registration renewals. That's done, the next few are done for us. Okay, so zoning permits.
Next one will be zoning permits.
How much have we done this year so far?
1905?
Yeah, that's only through the end of November because we haven't put income in yet for the month of December.
Okay.
Okay.
That's all the expenses, but not the income.
Should we just keep it at 4?
Yeah, 'cause unless permits are going up, then, like, permit prices aren't going up or anything, right?
So you're gonna level fund that one, or?
Well, but is she saying-
Giving out more permits
And she's doing more
to
work.
justify the
Oh, yeah.
hours.
Well, we're at 19 right now. Do we want to keep it at 4?
It's probably safer to just keep it, but
I think
this
you,
year.
I think you're gonna wanna keep it, I just,
Next one's set. Scrap metal recycling.
I think we've done pretty good on that this year so far.
We're not getting any money from the trucks thing, right?
No.
Okay.
And that's just a 6-month trial.
Okay.
So where are we for the scrap metal so far?
1,100
1100 so
through
far.
November.
Then want to keep it at the 2? Okay. The next
Chunk girl, so.
chunk of set, we're down to, looks like 4524? Or, sorry,
4523.
4523.
That we fill in once we come up with all the figures.
Okay. So we'll leave that.
Just a quick question, Julie, is the hunting and fishing money, is it just a percentage
$1.50 a license.
per license? I was gonna say, I buy my license here and I know I pay a lot more than $25.
No, that's the fee we get
Okay,
for a drug stamp, so.
okay.
How long does it take to fill out that information and?
You just take it online. It's
Okay.
online.
Just in terms of an hourly rate. I'm sure
There's
that
no
that's-
run on it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Well, I guess we're down to,
Fernfield Farms, our favorite fund.
Those are both end of year numbers.
Oh, those are the end of the year numbers for those?
Yeah, we should have them probably this week, right?
Okay.
Same with Ralph Stafford Scholarship, right?
Right.
Overweight permits.
Keep it at 250?
Yeah.
Didn't we change that one bridge? Wasn't there that we put up signs, or we thought about putting up signs?
The one,
Yeah.
Van Wait?
Yeah. So does that technically bring in more, or, but it's so little in terms of like traffic on it that,
We didn't increase any traffic on it, we just,
right,
for the temporary trucking across, that's all we did it for.
okay. So then it's not gonna bring in any more in.
No. In fact, it's
Yeah.
only $26 so far this year, so.
Keep it.
Well, there we are.
They usually wait until right before.
Right.
It's usually like a February, March, April, where a lot of them will start coming out.
Okay.
So this brings us to 45.
Yep, summer recreation.
Okay.
So we brought in 5,700 last year, and I know they're gonna raise the rate, so.
Right.
we can increase
So-
that.
So what do we want?
What did we say?
Like-
We
like
put
to
them up
increase it
15
to-
bucks? Was that how much we did? $15 per person?
Think.
We talked to that, we didn't agree to anything.
Right.
We didn't agree to
Oh.
anything yet. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
frankly, I think we should increase it even more than that.
So what do you feel that we should increase it to? I still have my last pack, but I
We
didn't
said
bring it with me.
we said $80 a week. I
80 for resident, and then what was it, 95 for
what-
non?
Were we at 65 before?
60 and 65 before.
Okay.
and are they planning on doing the same 4 weeks? Because one year they've done 3 weeks, 4 weeks, do we know yet?
Well, I mean, they talked about 4 weeks, but then there was, the rec committee was talking about maybe 5. So I think it's gonna depend on
Okay.
who we get for employees this year.
Okay.
And
Okay.
what's available for them
Okay.
all to, but at least 4 again.
Okay,
I
at
think
least 4
salary,
weeks.
salary-wise, I think we budgeted for 4 weeks. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what about 80 and 95? So 80 for residents, 95 for non.
Sounds reasonable.
I was thinking $100 a week, just flat.
I'm thinking,
That's a little much.
I'm thinking the resident at 80. What do we think about, yeah. And are we thinking about, going up to, 85 or 90 for,
I like Justin's suggestion, 95 for a non-resident.
95 for non-resident?
Non-resident,
Okay.
like, then we can justify the 80 for,
Okay,
In
that
town?
sounds good.
okay.
So, any idea what that would turn into a real number?
Well, if we had increased it by those amounts this year at the same amount of weeks, that would have brought in how much extra?
Well, 60 to 80 is what, 30%, a third. So if we, 2,500 and we go a third and more on that.
Go a third more? Okay.
But then you said we had 5,700?
Yeah, we brought in 5,700, so we gotta budget more than that.
Oh,
Should we budget either 45 or 5?
More than that.
Well, we
More
brought
than-
in,
We
yeah, we
brought in
56.
5,700.
Okay.
And then if we're
if we're-
increasing
And then
it,
we're increasing on top of
how many,
that.
it was about.
well, if you
15,
went
20 kids?
35,
How many kids?
We averaged, we did well. I mean, I think around, 1 week it was maybe 15, but the rest were between 20 and 25 a week.
So if you say you did 20 week, yeah.
Yeah.
80?
You said 5,700 we brought in?
Yes.
Yes.
Another 1,200?
Yeah.
So put a 1,200 on top of the 57?
7410?
690.
Then make it
600.
7,500, just to even
Do
it
we
out, or
wanna do
keep it
7?
74, just
Because you
to,
said he brought it to 6.9, right?
Mhm.
What if we say 7? That's still a significant increase, very significant
Right.
increase from where we were.
So 7,000 on line
What is everybody saying,
45.
7,000?
I think we're saying
7,000.
7.
Elfin Lake Gate income, we brought in 6950.
No.
And they're gonna survey the rates this summer, Shannon Flint. I don't know if we've ever increased the amount.
How much?
it's $3 per
$3.
day.
And the
And that
The
includes
passes.
the passes, right?
50 or?
The pass, I think, is 60 if you get it after a certain amount of time, and it's 50.
Before like Memorial
Yeah,
Day or
Before they
something.
open.
The season's shorter than it used to be. Because it doesn't open till,
After school's out.
Right,
right,
because that's when our kids can work.
yeah.
right.
So we always,
And
we
then it
always,
closes.
we open
before
it, we open it the Saturday after school closes, and then we close it the third week, because the
Yeah,
college, kids go back to college.
Yes.
They add 'em.
yep.
What if we make that 7,000?
But that's what we got, that's what we
That's what we
brought.
brought in this year.
Yeah, we brought in 7.
So if we're but if we're thinking that we're gonna have, no, yeah,
We're gonna increase the rec committee was gonna look into that
Okay.
so maybe then 7,250,
at least.
75,
75?
75?
75.
So,
7,500.
Okay. Concession income.
We brought in 1975 and we're gonna increase the pricing this summer
yeah, we
too.
have to.
But also stuff increases, like the,
Yeah.
product increase, cost increase, so.
Yeah,
That's on another line, so,
Do we want to keep that budget amount of 22?
sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So that. Okay.
for David, we're in zero.
Budget 0 on that?
How did we get revenue from it from the other years? Was that just,
It was
From
just
donations?
money. It was just an account, the
Yeah.
way she was accounting, we were basically the,
with the intermediary?
Rolling it
right?
over.
Yeah, okay.
And then recreation programs, is that still at 0?
Because we don't have any.
Okay.
So are we putting 0 on both those lines, 54 and 56?
yes.
So we can get rid of rec programs.
Yeah.
What would that really be like outside? That would be like if we had,
Like the line dancing, the things that they were.
okay.
Should we
So-
take that off since we're thinking about bringing it back?
Well, I mean, there wouldn't be anything for this budget, we have
Gotcha.
zeros for the other columns. But
So if we
next
bring it
year,
back,
you know, if
yeah.
the rec committee decides to charge for some programs, then going forward, you know,
Okay.
you add it in.
Okay.
Sounds good.
And we'd have to wait until they actually start charging to really get an idea of how much they bring in.
Right.
Right.
And we need to do
That-
revenue for administration? Or is that? No?
But that's,
Okay.
that just goes back into the expenses.
Oh, okay. Gotcha, yep.
So that concludes,
So do we want to add anything, Neighbor Works sent in that late request? you know, in your memo, right below revenue.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a few years ago gave $100.
Can you budget 100 for that?
And we wanted,
Wait, so what, did they give an amount that they're asking for? or
they
just-
did,
Okay.
so, but I looked back, like, in FY '20, we gave them 100.
And we decided not to give, I thought we did give them something this year.
They
didn't
just
ask.
sent they just.
Right,
sent
because
it-
they didn't ask for it, so we didn't give it.
Yeah, there wasn't on the list, so.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, just doing the straight 100 that we've done in the past.
Are you good with that?
And then if you want to do, you had talked before about something for Nelson. I don't know if that's something you still want to do.
For the concert series that put it in his name.
We
Yeah.
talked about scholarship.
Right, and also if we talked about the
here it says
scholarship.
scholarship.
Yeah. What do you think?
I have mixed feelings on that. I mean, I would like to do it, but at the same time, this budget is gonna take one extreme hike.
But if we're adding in like $500 this year and then maybe increase it when we have an idea if we're gonna use it, that would be not as, with everything else that we put onto it, it's not that big of a drop in the budget, I know it's.
And would this be a scholarship in the same line as the other scholarships? This would be a high school? Is that what we're thinking?
So we kind of talked about before, going into certain trades.
Yeah. Because of his trucking past, and then his,
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think
Civil
that
servant.
yeah,
we have to create some guidelines, I think,
We
on
would,
how we award it,
yep.
so.
is it something that we want to, just so that we can pad it so we know that it's ready, that like it's something that we put in place here, this year to start with, and then
Write up our guidelines and stuff.
write up the guidelines, and then so then maybe it would be 24, 25 is when we give out the first grant to it.
So like even if we
Okay.
did like 100, I mean, that's what the other appropriations were.
Right,
So
right,
just
right.
right now,
So we
like
have the
establish
line.
the scholarship and then think about starting to give it out.
And then that also might be where we could then meet up with Stafford or meet up with other different, like,
If you put it into the budget, you have to award it in that budget year, though.
Yeah,
you do have to word in that
Which-
budget. You can't just, it's not like
You
you're,
can't carry it over into a fund without putting it on the ballot for the taxpayers to approve as
Okay.
a fund.
okay.
But we could even, I mean, the first one could be a small one and then increase it. So if we're putting it in now, so we'd have, so it'd be the, right before, because it'd be graduation time where it'd be awarded.
right,
So that would give a year to establish
that's right.
the need, you know, the requirements.
Which ballot would it go on?
Would have to
We're
go on,
budgeting a year out. Would it go on next year's ballot?
if you want to award it in 25, it would be this summer of 25, you'd have to put it into,
Okay.
on this ballot.
On this one?
I mean, you could, if it was for, you know, you could establish, they could apply for it this May, April, May, like they do the other scholarships. And then the money could not be awarded until December, like we do this one. So then it would be within the FY '21 year. Maybe once they proved
Okay.
that they had enrolled in whatever, That's how we do the scholarships now. They have to prove that they've registered for second semester, their freshman year,
Okay,
and then we give them the money, so, you know, if you, we could potentially award this year.
So then it would need to go on this year's ballot. Correct?
Yes, if you're gonna create a fund that carries over money year to year.
Okay.
so then I say we do propose the $100 to start, and then we can see going forward how much we add into it.
Yeah, 'cause, maybe nobody applies.
Right.
Probably not, but you never know.
So I think we need wording on this. I think we need a motion, correct? And we need wording for how it's gonna go on the ballot.
So I'll make a motion that we add a line item for a Nelson TIF scholarship of $100 in the auspices of giving it to somebody who applies who's going into either trade schools, or maybe into civil service, that they can apply for this and then use that funds to or to further that, either that schooling or maybe it's equipment
Certification.
costs or certifications going forward.
I would certification or schooling, because
Do I have a second?
bus drivers and everybody need certification.
Do we have a
Right,
second?
right.
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Need
What
to
I say
wordsmith
makes
it.
sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Always, Justin.
You should go into advertising.
Well, that's what I do.
That's why I said it.
Thank you.
Okay. We had the sidewalk grant. We added to the agenda. Do we want, let's take care of that now.
Okay.
So I believe I just need a motion to accept the grant and
To authorize.
authorize me to sign it.
Okay. I make a motion that we accept the sidewalk grant and that we allow our chairperson, Bruce Duchesne, to sign on it.
I'll second.
Second?
I'll second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Waste metal
Yes.
contract.
So that was back in 2017.
Is there any reason why we wouldn't continue the contract if they're giving us money for the recyclables that we're already?
Do we have a contract that they've sent to us, Sandy, at this point?
Is this the same one we've been using for
Oh,
20 or quite some time?
So would you like a motion that we continue with contract? or
We don't actually
Just do
have
that?
to do anything if you just, I mean, you can just by consensus
By
agree to
consensus?
take no action. I mean, it's only triggered if you give them a 30-day notice.
Okay.
Okay. Talking about that, talking with Art at the transfer station, the plastic recycling, I guess, is going great guns. Are they picking, anybody picking it up and delivering it?
Tom Ford, from the conservation is. He picked it up as much as he could handle the other day, and he's gonna come back this week and get more. Yeah, it's been huge.
Yeah,
So,
they said the response has really been overwhelming.
yeah, it's good.
Well, it's amazing how much of that stuff is that you get. Like you think about, especially right now around Christmas, it was a perfect time to
Yes.
to launch it, just because there's a lot of packaging.
Yeah.
yeah.
And now we keep all of that out of our waste stream.
Right.
It's gonna,
That's good.
Then it'll take down on weight and volume on our, yeah.
Great.
So, fire protection budget appointment. Typically, one member of the select board,
You can't do that. That has to be somebody from District 3.
oh, it does?
Yeah, it has to be somebody outside the fire district 1 and 2. Has to be somebody in District 3 for both of those positions, not necessarily on the select board.
Yeah.
Nelson just happen to live in District 3.
So the only person would be Carolyn that's eligible then,
I'm in
right?
2.
No, Carolyn's not. She's in District 2.
Oh,
That'll be me, and I'm gonna have to, I resigned from it the last time. I can't,
So
it's not a
that,
huge deal, but when you're you're making the dollar amount for the fire budget for, there's 2 of you on the committee, for the entire, majority of the population of Wallingford, basically. And I just think that's unfair, so I'd like to see for other reasons, I'd like to see the fire department over with the town, but, under the town tutelage. But that person does have to be from District 3, whoever you choose. I think Mike does it now. Is the other party?
like,
Michael, what's Michael's last name, Sandy?
Hughes?
Yeah, no.
From South Wallingford.
yeah, I want to say McGann, but that's not it.
Doesn't matter. Is anybody on?
is this something that we would have to ask, like if we don't have anybody on here, do we have to then ask or appoint somebody to go on
Michael
to it, or?
McMahon,
Michael McMahon?
Richard Kendall, and then Nelson was.
Okay.
They're gonna have a meeting, I think it's
January?
January 18th, I think. It's one meeting. That's it.
So at this point, what do? We just leave it blank?
I mean, if we don't appoint somebody, then
Bill?
the other 2 will.
Mark, you're not willing to do that one meeting?
I'll do the one this year for you.
Okay, perfect.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks,
Thank
Mark.
you.
Good man.
Just let me know what it is. That's fine. Well,
Okay. I'll give the clerk your name and she'll be in touch with you. But they were looking at the
Okay, that's
18th.
Okay.
Good. Mark gets an attaboy.
Yep, Mark gets that boy. Act 157, then eliminate the office of constable. I really don't think that's anything we want
No,
to do. It's just,
one of you will have to do it.
Yeah.
As long as he's willing to be appointed, I don't see why we'd want to eliminate it.
Okay,
no. So that's the consensus of the board.
yes.
Yes.
Second meeting in January is Martin Luther King Day. Do we want to hold the meeting anyway, or move it?
Do you want to move it to Tuesday that week?
Just the 17th?
Doesn't matter to me. I'm retired, and it's just another day as far as I'm concerned. So if you want to do it on Monday, that's fine, but if
So-
you want to move it,
Mark, is the meeting's on the 18th, right, so it's not a conflict.
Right.
Yes,
Wednesday.
yeah.
Making sure I heard right.
What's that?
That's a Wednesday, the 18th.
Just the fire meeting.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
For the 18th.
I'll move to the 18th.
Or move it to the
Ours to the
17th,
17th.
because he has the meeting on the
Yes,
18th.
ours the 7th.
Yeah.
There we go. So what is, okay, 17th.
Tuesday.
Okay, select board comments and concerns. Yeah, we need to discuss, how should I phrase this, cybersecurity. Sandy and Justin met with a outfit out of
Manchester Mark Tila, yeah.
And, basically, they were looking for a quote. They brought maybe I should let you guys talk first. I mean, you met with the guy.
We're looking for a quote to fulfill the ARPA application that I put in for cybersecurity, because that was one of the things that we could go for. And so he gave me like a very general amount, but then he wanted to come in to actually do a site assessment. And then he talked about what he would think would need to be done inside of the building. And then to get a more accurate, he then emailed us saying he wanted to put on a program on the computers that would just see the specs of the computer and then the network specs. So that he could then decide, like, because the big thing, like with the old server over there, is that up to snuff? Would that have to be switched out if we went with something like this? My opinion is that this is a relatively uninvasive kind of approach to be able to get that, because otherwise he would have to come in here and look at each one of the computers and then take down the information, get the serial numbers, versus they can do this and get all that numbers, get those, be more accurate. And then if we don't go with them, like he said, he would say he would delete all that information from their servers or their systems. And it wouldn't be any documents or anything else like that. It's really just hardware specs. That's my understanding of what he was doing.
And my feeling was that I don't like the idea of somebody coming in and installing software that basically spies on our computers. In my mind, he did a site assessment. We're just looking for a budgeting number. We're not awarding him a contract at this point or anything. It just, I wasn't comfortable with the idea of this.
I did send something off I sent his whole chain of emails off to VLCT
Yeah.
to say, is this something that we would recommend? And they actually asked me if I could wait a day. They were sending it farther along to see if that's appropriate to.
Okay.
Hey, Sandy,
Yes?
reach out to VTEL, see what VTEL has for a managed firewall that they sell for that managed firewall application. See if they do.
So
If they don't, let me know.
this was actually, what he was proposing doing, and it wasn't like, so he works with Manchester and he works with Mount Tabor, and he's worked with other couple of municipalities. The system that he was putting in place for Manchester was way out of our scale, and he knew that. What he was thinking of doing was setting up new networks so that where the cameras that we have outside, those would be on a network. Our computers that are actually being used by all the staff, that would be on a network, and then any phone lines or anything else, so that there would be actual separate networks set up, and then also that they would have monitoring services after we're under a contract to be able to see how things are going, and to detect threats. So there wouldn't be just a firewall, it would actually be somebody, or be their firm monitoring us and then addressing threats, and also quarantining computers if need be, if we do get attacked. So it was a more comprehensive than just setting up the firewall for our stuff.
Okay, no, I couldn't hear the whole thing. So.
No, yeah, and I didn't explain that part of it, so.
So what information from installing this program, what information does he get that he wouldn't get otherwise? That he needs to install this program because it's going to gain him what information?
It would get whatever version of the software that we have right now on each of the individual computers, because they're not all the same.
Okay.
It would get the specs on what the processor on the computer was, how much RAM it has, what update it's up to, and then also how our network is functioning. But it's not, from my understanding, and maybe I was interpreting it incorrectly, and I was just going gung-ho because I thought he seemed legitimate,
Right.
that no actual document data would be transmitted in this.
I guess the only thing I'm wondering is that if we just gave a document of the year-end type of computer, couldn't he get those specs?
So he could, but it's not, the big thing he wants to, what this would do is that whenever you're doing that, that would, one, it would take one of us to go around to each of the computers and do this.
Okay.
And also, there's so much room for human error during this thing versus if he just does this, the computer spits out that all into a spreadsheet for him, and then he has that.
So
So
it's basically a time saver.
A time saver, but really more so the accuracy. Accuracy would be the biggest thing in this.
Because you're taking out the human element, you're just
Yes.
having a computer go and gather the information and.
Right. It would like me be going like up to my little Apple here and saying about this Mac and getting all that information down. That's my interpretation of all the information he's needing for that.
How do other people?
And just because I do feel, and there's also, we had the one thing that both Sandy and I were a little wary about was the idea that when they installed their system, and it's not saying that we're going with them, but this is just the people who we've talked with and that they've worked with similar municipalities like ours, that they would then, we would basically be giving up our ability to be able to install or modify the systems.
Yeah, they were taking away our administrative rights.
Sounds well beyond what.
So my
size-
question is, what did the other municipalities think of this situation, and did it give any positive or negative outcomes from it? I'm wondering what the other towns thought of it. Can we
Well,
ask
We got his name from Mount Tabor.
from Montego?
Because
Okay.
they had used them, they're obviously even smaller than us, but they've been very happy with them.
Okay,
And he also does the city of Manchester.
how long would we give up admin control for?
Throughout our
Ever.
contract.
Gotcha.
If we left them, then we would give up that. But they also would give if we needed to install something and they couldn't come up to do it, then they could give us a one-time code. Because the way that their systems work is that the passwords get reset every single night.
So if I forgot, like, my password on my computer, I would have to contact him to tell me how to get onto my computer.
But at the same time,
But you and I talked about, and Bruce and I talked about, whoever we go with,
Yeah.
that can't be, I mean, we would have to have somebody like Justin or Bruce or somebody, or Mark, or any of you who are technologically, to
What I do
also
for
be
work.
in that admin level.
Right.
We can't not have a town person be in the admin level too,
Right.
I think.
Yes.
But this is all just to give the ARPA committee a number so that when they meet next week,
right.
in 2 weeks, they know how much to set aside.
Gotcha.
We would still need to go out to bid, I mean, so we would have
Right.
other cybersecurity folks bidding on them too,
And
so.
I'd love to, because I don't have any concept of what he talked about the whole package would be. I have no concept of how that compares to other people in the area, and whether or not maybe there's somebody closer, or maybe somebody you might know through RMC. But like being able to have at least one bit of
Not us.
information that I can give to the
Exactly.
ARPA committee so they
Yeah.
can make a decision about it.
Right.
So,
I mean, I don't see why he can't give you a budgetary number. That it might be way high.
Okay.
How
But-
many computers do you have?
6.
To just get the screen to give the operating system, all of that data, yes, it is time, but how much? That's not a lot of data. I mean, that would now be a lot of time in the long run, rather if just for him to run some numbers. It'd be different when it comes to the, okay, we want you to do this, but just to get
Yes.
some generic numbers, that seems extreme. For just giving,
Yeah.
I mean,
can you do something where he looks at what Wallingford has, what Mount Tabor has, and then maybe sort of give us figures from how much the Mount Tabor job was? I mean, do we have to give computer access in order to get this budget number?
In my mind, no.
no.
You shouldn't need to get computer access to give us a budgetary figure.
But it's just, and then this might be me not understanding this correctly. My understanding is that this is not them getting a complete remote into our computers. It's just asking for that information and then popping it back.
Yeah, but he's asking you to install a program that's gonna allow him access to all our computers.
But just on that level.
Well, how do we know? That's what he's telling
About
us.
putting something on our computers, on the town computers, without a contract with the company that's doing that.
Yeah, this,
You
Yeah,
have
no, that makes sense too.
Yeah,
If something happens in the process, we lose data, we have nobody to go back after.
True, yeah, if there was something corruption or something happened that we installed the file, and then, okay. No,
There's
that, I
too
didn't think
much-
about that part, yeah.
I'm wondering if there's a way he can give us a budget number and not have to go, not have to install something that manipulates data from our town system.
right, because if you're setting up separate networks more than you have here, he knows how much it would cost to set up, because that's the systems and stuff. So that
Right.
would be one budget price, that is independent of what our computers even have.
And then figure out, I mean,
Not average usage and stuff.
I mean,
Maybe he's gotta know what average uses of an office is. And space.
And then
I mean,
if
it's
you're
not
gonna
like we have
set up-
super big computers
If you're,
here.
if you're gonna set up so many networks, and that would be a particular price, if you have to upgrade the server, then that would be a particular price.
And that's hardware, that's not anything to do with what's on our computers.
Exactly.
But the hardware would be just being able to see the specs of that particular computer.
But setting up different networks would be network hardware, which is separate than what your computer systems.
But I think the biggest thing is that he needed to figure out whether or not that server would work with the new network.
If you're setting up multiple networks.
But it was because they didn't service and they didn't work with that
Right.
server.
But still, I mean, they should be able to have generic numbers. For
So then I'll go back to him and,
relatively, no, older computer systems.
so then I'll go back to him and say, we're just not comfortable unleashing that information without a contract. And also, we're only doing this for budgetary estimate reasons. So if you can give us the best guess with what you know about us and what you saw at our thing. If you can't, then we'll go for somewhere else, but.
Because I'm thinking of like school districts, when they get quotes, they're getting quotes. They're not looking into, and there's a lot more computers and a lot more data going on.
For sure.
And they do not release that type of, they do not have that type of system going.
Okay. Then that sounds good to me.
Okay.
that was my concern. Any other concerns among folks? No? It seems like there was something more.
Anything else?
Yeah,
Oh, other business,
the wording on the article.
I had taken a stab at, because we had talked about putting an article on
For Wallingford Day.
for Wallingford Day.
Yeah.
And I had,
Check this page. I put a new one on your desk.
Dude, let me go see.
Yeah,
I took a stab, well, Sandy did one, and then I took a stab at taking a step further, and then Sandy edited it again.
Oh, thank you.
That's what we have at this point, so. Probably Mark cannot see this, right?
No, I'm reading it.
You're reading it?
well, he's reading the old one. He didn't-
You're reading it? Do you want me to read out the new one, Mark?
No, it's on
There's a change to it, a couple changes, I think.
okay.
So, Wallingford Day has historically been a financially independent and separate activity from town government. The current group seeks planning and financial support through the town recreation committee. Therefore, the select board has included funds in the currently proposed budget. Do you favor continued use of taxpayer support? Yes. Or Wallingford Day remain separate from our town government and financing? No. This article is for the select board to gather a sense of how townspeople feel concerning the town recreation committee taking on Wallingford Day.
So,
So maybe we need to have, just, do you favor continued use of taxpayer support and town management going forward? I guess is the thing that would be part of the yes. Right?
Yes. Because this almost sounds, you're saying continued or remaining. Both options kind of sound like they're both going on. Which it is, but it could be confusing.
Is that two questions?
It's telling them if they vote, if they favor continue, if they favor using taxpayers, they vote yes. If they want it to stay separate, vote no.
Okay, so
This is
that,
all non-binding too, so it's just.
yeah.
right, right.
It's worded,
Like, this is the fact that you said at the end, like, this is just for us to kind of get a take on it. It's technically, it is separate from town government. That's what we're trying to establish right now.
Do we
is-
need to put in the words non-binding?
it has been, yes.
Right.
Up until now. Well, I looked up online how to write a non-binding resolution.
Okay.
And from that, I came up with this wording, and,
Yeah.
and that's where I added the line that, it said the Congress, and people like that typically say that it's a sense of Congress, so. Well, this was new to me too, so.
I wonder, I think the thing is that, like, what, like Carolyn, you're saying is the idea of continued and remaining. I think we have to pick which one we want. So do we favor use of taxpayer support? Yes, for Wallingford, or should Wallingford Day remain separate from town government and
And do we-
financing?
I would almost just think about, should it stay separate?
Oh, excuse me.
I mean, just yes or no, should this be part of the town? What if you even went that way?
But I think what
I get it,
what Bruce
yeah.
is putting in here is also just the idea of the idea that the taxpayer would be doing that. And I think that is important for us to
No,
kind of gauge. on
yeah,
it.
keep it like, do you favor use of taxpayer support of Wallingford Day? Yes or no? I mean, is that just too simple and blunt?
But I think the idea of completely removing it from the town, that's also part of it.
Yes.
So it is that, like, are we going to integrate or are we going to remove?
Do we want to take out the word continued since we have not used taxpayer
that would
money
work.
before? Do we want to put in those words that Carolyn said about town management? Because this would fall under the umbrella of the recreational committee. So that is a form of town management. So do we want it to say, do you favor use of taxpayer support and town management?
Yeah.
Or Wallingford Day remaining separate from town government and financing? So it's two-pronged in the no part, maybe we make it two-pronged in the yes part as well.
So there you go. Do you favor use of taxpayer support and town management? Yes, or Wallingford Day remaining separate from town government and financing?
Yeah.
I think that makes it clear. And you just take out the word continued because,
Yep, and then add town management.
yes.
And I think that last sentence that you added at the end, Bruce, is perfect in terms of
Right.
just
Yes.
saying that we want input on this, but we're not
Yes.
necessarily going to be a decision, which
Just
I think
because.
is huge.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
One other item in other business. It sounds, from my understanding from John's email, we did get a letter from the state,
Yeah, so,
so it was a good move on our part.
Because we got it saying we need
We
to
preempted them.
Good.
so
Good, good,
that's an attaboy for those.
So. And I think that will wrap it up for tonight.
Cool.
Shall I make a motion?
Sure.
I make a motion for us to adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.